So it's a big urology podcasting love-in, Renu?
It really is. A long-awaited one.
GU Oncology podcasting royalty we're in the presence of today.
We sure are.
So this is a big conjoined podcast between myself and Renu, GU Cast.
Uromigos, myself and Tom.
And OncoAlert, just me, Gil.
Yeah,
Gil with a big team behind him. Yeah.
the OncoAlert community. So we thought we'd have a bit of fun together because we know a lot of listeners and viewers to all three podcasts probably listen a bit to each other, and then maybe we have some audience we can share and pick up from each other.
It's amazing how APCCC attracts all the podcasters.
Yes, we are here in Lugano.
Yeah.
It is gorgeous, isn't
Pretty
it?
nice.
Prostate cancer meeting.
Yeah, what are you guys doing?
I'm waiting
here?
for the kidney cancer. Is that tomorrow?
It's
Sunday.
Yeah,
Sunday.
It's Sunday.
Yeah. So we decided we're going to ask a couple of questions first. We're going to interview Uromigos.
Yeah, to the podcasters that inspired us.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of yours. Yes. I don't miss an episode.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it's I mean, you guys are great.
We wanted to ask you why and how did you start Uromigos, Brian and Tom?
Yeah, I can start. I mean, I think Tom and I talk almost every day, and we were talking.
We weren't talking every day before then, were we?
And
I don't think we were. Brian. I think you're giving the wrong impression of what actually happened.
and it was probably early 2020.
It was during the pandemic, wasn't it?
It was just before the pandemic.
Same time.
Was it
And
not?
it was Tom interrupts me a lot, and it was.
I actually don't think that's right.
This is what we're used to.
Hey, we should do a podcast. It was just sort of a spitball idea of let's do. We didn't even know how to do it or how to record, and we're still struggling with that.
No,
but
it started badly. It went downhill, and the worse thing about the end, the better, as far as I remember.
More successful.
and
It was perfect.
then the pandemic hit, and I think that's what really kickstarted it.
Yeah,
Suddenly we had all
it
this time,
deteriorated
number one,
during the pandemic.
and then we had all these topics and et cetera, and then we just sort of built listeners, and then it just sort of fed upon itself.
So, were you guys in the same room when you started the podcast, or were you?
Not to be in the
We've
same
almost-
Right. Okay.
This is the first time I've seen him for months.
We're almost never in the same room.
Right.
No,
Wow.
I do
Okay.
not.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Occasionally there are
That's what works
advisory
so well.
boards and we have to be together. And those big rooms at ASCO, we find ourselves there but on separate sides.
Oh,
Okay.
the long table. But but how many in the group? Because Uromigos is you guys, but you do have
Extended family, really.
an
don't you?
extended family.
Silky and
So
Sweeney and
the origin of the Uromigos
It's
was
important to say Silky actually does lots of our prostate podcasts with
yes.
us.
So
And so
and
does
Chris do a lot of our prostate.
Yeah.
And they're
So
fabulous.
The origin of the Uromigos group, which is 8, was we were all on Twitter. We thought it was not that great and a lot of self-adulatory. And we thought the
We liked
content
a lot
was,
about it.
We thought just let me speak. We thought the content was bad. Not bad. We thought the content wasn't as
I
good as it
liked
can
the
be
content.
scientifically. So we said, and each one of us didn't tweet that much. What if we band together and put out high-quality scientific
Right.
tweets?
So my recollection
Right.
was completely different. My recollection was the second part, which I think is right, is none of us were comfortable on Twitter. And we were all uncomfortable. And we all said, I wouldn't mind doing it, but I don't want to do it by myself. And it was a case of safety in numbers. And then we were all tweeting from the same account, but it became apparent we weren't very good at it.
You guys are amazing. What are you talking about?
No, we really weren't. And so then what happened is Brian and I said, look, we're not good at writing. Which is true.
Yeah.
Are we better at talking? And that was the key. That's how the podcast started.
Yeah, no, that's
and
fair.
I
That's fair.
I think we're pretty poor at both, to be honest.
But you realise there was comedic value in that.
Yes, I think that's the only reason people listen, to be honest.
Well, certainly one of the reasons we enjoyed it. We said that format's very popular. The banter between the hosts, and we
it was
thought,
very good.
that seems to be a really key ingredient to have audience engagement, is having some banter and stuff like that. So we have tried to copy the banter.
But I think that's why it's so impressive. You guys weren't in the same room. Stop it.
Would you like your
Because-
microphone back?
Yeah, no, it's
The banter is usually
We
better
share.
when you're in the same location, but you guys somehow seem to just make it work.
Yeah, I think we've done 325 podcasts.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
it's
you
good,
put out a
Lord.
lot.
We do
Amazing.
put out a lot.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so I think you just sort of learn when somebody's about to say something.
Yeah.
Tom's always about to say something.
Yeah,
right?
you just assume it's always.
I have to fight for my seconds. But
So
you're right, we've done some in the same room here, and it's a whole lot easier when you can read and kind of, read body language.
But Brian,
it is
we've
what it
talked a
is.
lot about ourselves. Why don't we ask other people to talk about
Yeah,
us?
come on.
That's very generous.
Turn over there, OncoAlert.
Say, OncoAlert's on the corner. Just
Tell us about OncoAlert.
OncoAlert. What's there to say about OncoAlert?
I think it's incredibly successful.
When did it start?
I'm told you've had 20 million impressions at this meeting. Can I tell you a bit about Brian? Okay, I'm not talking about myself too much. But we
Tom talking
we
again?
have 0
He's
impressions
interrupting
at the meeting.
himself.
We haven't actually launched anything yet, have we, Brian? Because the swim this morning took longer than we expected. And you've had 20 million impressions. How
Well,
does one achieve 20 million impressions at an APCCC meeting?
Very easy. I mean, it's not us. It's all our colleagues that are actually tweeting the whole time. They're OncoAlerting. So, I mean, when you work as a team, when everybody's kind of sharing, it's easy.
And you're putting out so many tweets, and I think they're very relevant. You've got lots of people doing that. How have you built that family so effectively?
Well, I mean, it's been just time. We've been around for about 5 years.
Yeah.
We started in March of 2019, exactly 1 week before my son was born.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine how happy my wife was when I was there with my phone all the time.
Man.
Oh, God, yeah. She forgave me. Eventually, she forgave OncoAlert, and, the rest is history. So she allows me to continue, and I take full advantage of it.
You made those fabulous videos, I remember, where you summarised the week's data and you talked super fast. Did you train to talk that fast, or did you do good at it?
I did.
Do you know how fast you talk?
Yeah.
No.
I just heard the Uromigos podcast, and I just decreased the speed by half, and then I just trained up on that, and I kind of worked on it. I'm getting there, Tom, but maybe in like 10 years.
I love those videos. I thought they were fabulous.
So what's the spectrum of what you do? It's videos, tweets, what?
Oh, God. Yeah. So it's webinars, podcasts, the weekly newsletter.
Wow.
We do the videos, the roundups, anything we can possibly do that we think is going to actually help our colleagues. That's what we go.
When you got those charts, I sometimes see those you actually produce charts, and you're always number one on those charts. Brian and I don't even appear. When you produce those charts, how is that? I mean, that must be. Is that based on the volume of tweets you're putting out, or is that because people are coming into your tweets? What is it? What have you created? How have you created the most popular Twitter sort of meeting account?
See, but I think with
Maybe we just go and get a drink or something.
I don't really consider OncoAlert just being number one. It's everyone that is within OncoAlert. So normally it's like 1 to 10, but if you look at it, at least 8 of those are part of OncoAlert. So OncoAlert is all those people that are in there. This is just the account that kind of represents about 160 faculty.
Do you want to give a shout out to your big faculty who are doing it?
Absolutely.
And who are those people? I mean, obviously, me and Brian are 2 of those.
Alphabetically, or how do you want? Right? No. But we have an amazing faculty. We have people that have been around from the beginning. Tony Schwery, who has been just so supportive. Silke, you. I mean, that we have so many people that have been there from the beginning, and it's so great to be able to have initiatives and have people that believe in you and say, you know what, we'll be there, we'll support you.
I think you're doing something fabulous.
Well,
Here.
Yeah,
I think y'all are you.
Agreed.
Yeah,
It's all about a similar sort of service, isn't it? To try and educate ourselves and exchange ideas. And podcasting is great for that.
I mean, I think we would do it if it was just Tom and I listening. Honestly, like we have a lot of fun doing it.
Yes.
That's a really great comment to make. So it's not so
We
much.
probably
We
would.
get smart. I get smarter about bladder and prostate cancer and kidney cancer.
I think they did one of those things, when the people go into a house, Big Brother stuff, and they did it once, but when they did it for a whole week, and they excluded people, more people, and then in the end, people came out, and then when he came out, they realised they weren't actually broadcasting it at all. It was an experiment where they were doing it without broadcasting it. So people have done that experiment.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Where I know it's not got any relevance.
You're quite skeptical.
I know it's
know
got,
where he was going.
I know it's got no, but the point is, people have done that experiment where no one was actually listening. When a tree falls in a wood, can anyone hear?
How about GUcast? Tell us, you guys started about the same time?
Same as you
I
guys.
feel like
Just
I'm
after. I know. I'm already pretty short.
They're trying to get on the number one step before we even got to that.
No, I wanted to step back because I was worried that we couldn't, so I took a step back there, and then Brian came back with me because he couldn't. And we ended up in the water if we're not careful.
We can go for a swim.
When did it was
March 2020.
We just celebrated
so
our
very similar
4th
to you.
birthday, so it's been 4 years.
March 2020.
Yeah.
Just pandemic time.
Yeah. Same.
What do you like the best?
At the time, Tom, it was a pandemic, and we were severely locked down in Australia. You might recall.
Oh, we
And-
did worse in the UK, I think.
Did you? No, I don't think so.
I think so.
I think we were
We
worse.
came last, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure we came last.
Okay, we can get to the lowest level.
The OncoAlert league table, the UK was well down there.
And so the best bit to answer your question was when we were severely locked down for 2 years, it was being able to chat with colleagues all the time.
Yeah.
So we used to really look forward to it. We'd go into this quiet room in at Peter Mac, and you'd be talking to someone who you'd normally be seeing at the EAU or ASCO GU, and you weren't going to see them. And it was a really nice way of engaging with them. So that was probably the best thing.
Either really early in the morning or late in the evening, because we had to work with US and European times, and already we were in curfew and lockdown, and the hospital would be deserted, but at least then we could just catch up with friends and colleagues, and it was just like a little bit of a shining light.
What's your best and your worst moment so far?
Start with the worst. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
How many
so I'll tell you.
podcasts have you recorded?
The
where
ones
you
we get
just
complaints
scrapped them,
about.
You're like, oh, that was terrible.
We've never scrapped one,
really.
but we've had one on where, and we say to all the guests, I don't know, do you do the same thing? It's not a live thing, not like Uromigos live, but we say to everyone, look, if there's anything you don't like, we can always edit it out, but we don't usually have to. But when we had Ben Davies on,
There was a real risk of having to edit our podcast for the very first time.
we said Andrew Vickers might listen to this, exactly right. And then Vickers, who's a great friend of ours as well, was straight on the email straight after. Ben Davies, that was completely unreasonable. So I don't know, I felt a bit uncomfortable about that one. And the other one was we did profile this thing about manels, about these all-male panels in urology. We'd written a paper in European Urology, did a podcast, and then a very eminent Canadian urologist friend of ours had written a letter to the editor in European Urology, and that sparked off a whole bunch of
we did get a little bit of hate.
pile-on for him, actually, on Twitter, people going, he doesn't get it, he's part of the problem, etc. So we did a podcast afterwards. We got European Urology associate editors who'd written a nice piece, balancing it all out. But he felt very strongly he should be on the podcast, and we felt very strongly to help make it all go away, we should not do that. We should just focus on a way forward. So they're the two I think of, Tom, that would say, could we have done them?
So those are the highlights. What were the downs?
Exactly the same thing.
Exactly the same things. Yeah, no, and highlights. This is the highlights so far. We get to talk to podcasting royalty. No, highlights. There've been lots of great highlights. We've had quite a few patients on.
We did that great podcast on sexual intimacy and sexual rehabilitation after prostatectomy.
Oh yeah. I got to play with the.
No.
We're used to shit.
I just feel guilty about holding on.
I'll tell you when we had on. This is a linker into Uromigos. So you made the Enact paper of the month on Uromigos podcast, right?
We got some grief over that.
Yeah, and then the following month we had a title on our podcast featuring Enact as "Do Not Enact." This is a turkey of a paper, and Matt Cooperberg came on, and we gave him a really hard time.
We did give him a hard time, and I felt bad about that. We had to buy him dinner at EAU.
We got a great reaction to it, but
How do you decide content? Who decides content?
Oh, it's a bit of. How do you decide content? And whatever's happening, whatever people are talking about.
Yeah, we just
big
sort of,
paper.
Talk and figure it out and say, let's do this, let's do that.
Sometimes we're guided by tweets a bit. What's really topical out there? What are people weighing in on? That will often
paper of the month's a good thing. I think it'd be good to have regular things like that, so you've got a slot to aim for. We got to have a paper of the month, whereas we sort of make up all the content. We have a plan usually.
Our
there's a
paper
few.
of the month happens very sporadically.
That's right. Yeah. Not 12 in a year.
It's not actually paper of the month.
No.
So now we've got a studio. So if we have guests in town, especially international guests, we'll often invite them into the studio, and it'll be something based on their research.
Your technology is much better than ours.
Yeah. Well, it's no. It's
I'm still rolling with an iPhone, so I don't know what you.
So we often say that, there are a lot of podcasts that start, but not many that go beyond the 5-6 episode mark.
Yeah, there's a value depth between 5 and 10, like 90% of podcasts.
Yeah, so people always ask us, how do you keep it going? What do you guys say? What's the reason that you've made it to episode 300?
I don't know. We just kept doing it. Just raw determination, like a lot of things, right? We just kept doing it and
bored
doing
our
it.
audience into submission.
And again, because the pandemic hit, people had time to listen, and I think that really sort of got our start. And then when the wave of that had passed, at least for content for our podcast, then there was obviously plenty of academic content.
Actually, I think what I love about Uromigos is the fact that everything you guys do is so organic. It does, or at least it appears incredibly organic. But it's so great because that's what pulls you in. That as a colleague, that's what you want to see. You don't want to see something that's organized. It's just like on the fly.
What's next for OncoAlert?
Ooh. What's next for OncoAlert?
This is a good way to wrap it up.
It depends. It all depends on what our colleagues tell us. So I always have my ear to the ground and just making sure to see what needs to be developed, what needs to be met.
What would you love to do if there's one thing, one ambition of, what would you like? Is there something out there you think, I want to hold a meeting?
I want to take over Euro Today.
We're doing it right now. Collaboration with the actual people that you want to meet. It's your colleagues, the people that are your colleagues, the people that you admire, the people that are producing great stuff. Because quite honestly, like you said, Brian, there's a lot of stuff out there that really should not be out there. And it's about finding the people that are doing something good and making sure that you're backing them up and making sure that they continue their success, even though they're going to continue without you anyway. But if you can be a little part of it, to me,
That's all I want to do. And right now, we've been able to do some really cool stuff. We just gave our first fellowship to somebody a colleague in low and middle income country. Yeah, and we have given 2 travel grants for patient advocates to attend, one to ESMO Breast, the other one to ASCO.
Amazing.
So this is the cool thing. It's to be able to do something good, and to be able to work with people that you really admire and people you really like, and hopefully it's something that we can
have to
continue.
end on that because we don't have anything that good.
Well, I was slightly embarrassed because I was thinking about having a Uromigos Sports Day.
Let's do that.
That's not quite the same as helping lower income countries, Brian. It sounds a little bit.
Tell us about the conference and the cup and all that. I mean, that was a big
interesting.
leap forward, wasn't it?
Yeah,
2,
the
you've done
live
2?
meetings, we've done 2. We'll have our 3rd late September this year. And it sort of grew organically out of the podcast. Actually, we went to a meeting in the Canary Islands.
Yes.
That was no slides, just show up and talk. And I was like, this is awesome.
Oh, that was cool.
It was awesome, right? Number
bring
one, you
your
don't have to prepare
swimmers.
anything, but number 2 is just conversational. Very few slides that they showed, and I was like, we should do this in the U.S. because it's just like doing a podcast. Faculty loves it because they can just show up and talk about their expertise.
Exactly,
They don't have to prepare anything, and it's sort of grown from there. The Uromigos Cup we did
I'm
last
standing
year.
up here again. I've got to go down.
Yeah.
Why do I keep doing that?
It's
You've
just
been on your pedestal.
You always
Don't fall
already
off and
tower
tower
over
over me,
I
Tom.
think it's because I feel I haven't come back here.
OncoAlert has now dropped to number 5.
anyway, the live meeting's been awesome. It's a ton
That's
of work,
really
so
cool.
congrats
It
to
is-
Silke
it
and
is
everyone
really
for
cool.
doing this meeting. But
I love your podcast.
I love you too.
Oh, God.
But that's all we've time for. Is it?
Should we call it?
I think we should
Thankfully,
call it.
we're
Yeah,
all-
thankfully, before this gets too
loving,
weird.
etc.
Congrats to
So
all of
that's
you.
all we have.
Oh, we should do a merchandise swap.
Oh yeah. They sell merchandise.
I'm like,
We're giving
give
away
me my
for
t-shirt
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
I don't know if now's the right time.
Okay, ASCO merchandise swap.
We'll do that.
There you go. There you go.
Definitely, yeah.
There you go.
Sounds good.
So that's it. We'll sign off here from the Euro podcasters love in here in
He
Lugano.
thinks we're famous.
Cheers. Bye.
Yeah, nice.